is up, Stack and Ohana? This is Aloha Stacker, and welcome back to the channel in another video. And in today's video, we are doing the number 2 medal, John Adams. So first, we did George Washington a few weeks ago. This medal right here, this absolutely beautiful, beautiful medal. And now we're going to go ahead and do John Adams. I have acquired the second medal, and it is right here. Absolute beauty. Check a look at this. I love these. I love the packaging here. So you take the outer box off, then you have an inner box. We'll go ahead and bust that open and take a look and see what's inside. Inside we have a certificate of authenticity. So let's take a look at that real quick before we take a look at the medal. We got certificate of authenticity, Silver Presidential Medals Program. Certificate of authenticity, Presidential Silver Medals Program. The United States Mint certifies that this is a genuine presidential silver medal minted and authorized under 31 U.S.C. 5111A2. This medal was minted by the Department of the Treasury, United States Mint. David J. Ryder, Director, U.S. Mint, and the specifications are composition 99.9% silver, 1.598 inches in diameter, 1 troy ounce, or 31.103 grams, and edge plain. So, and that is pretty much it for the certificate of authenticity. We'll go ahead and set that there. Now we'll go ahead and bust the box out. These are actually really neat looking velvety boxes with a nice green. You can see the George Washington one. And in here we have the United States Mint, and here is the medal. So let's take a look at this right here. Let's go ahead and zoom. So we have John Adams, President of the U.S. or United States, AD 1797, and there is a bust, and he is facing to the right or the left. No, it's the left because it's backwards, right? So it's an absolute beautiful piece of silver. On the back it says peace and friendship. You've got a tomahawk and a peace pipe. And you have a continental soldier shaking hands with a Native American, and it says friendship. And these are reeded edges, as you can see. Or are they reeded edges? Let's see, can we tell? It's hard to tell. Let me take a look. I don't want to take it out of the capsule, so so we have George Washington, we have John Adams, and soon I will begin attempting to acquire Thomas Jefferson, because he will be next in the series. And since this is History Mondays, we're going to go ahead and do a little biography of the man himself. So let me go ahead and put this up so you can get a nice view. And I will go ahead and read a nice little biography on John Adams. John Adams was the leader of the American Revolution and served as the second United States president from 1797 to 1801. The Massachusetts-born, Harvard-educated Adams began his career as a lawyer. Intelligent, patriotic, opinionated, and blunt, Adams became a critic of Great Britain's authority in colonial America and viewed the British imposition of high taxes and tariffs as a tool of oppression. During the 1770s, he was a delegate to the Continental Congress. In the 1780s, Adams served as a diplomat in Europe and helped negotiate the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which officially ended the American Revolutionary War. From 1789 to 1797, Adams was America's first vice president. He then served as a term as the president, the nation's second president. He was defeated by another term by Thomas Jefferson. His letters to his wife Abigail Adams left behind a vivid portrait of his time among the founding fathers. So he was born in Braintree, present-day Quincy, Massachusetts, on October 30th, 1735. To the descendants of Mayflower Pilgrims, John Adams was the oldest of John and Susanna Boylston Adams' 3 sons. The elder Adams was a farmer and shoemaker who also served as a congregationalist, deacon, and an official in a local government. A strong student, Adams graduated from Harvard College in 1755. He then taught school for several years and studied law with an attorney in Worcester, Massachusetts. Adams began his law career in 1758 and eventually became one of Boston's most prominent attorneys. In 1764, he married Abigail Smith, a minister's daughter from Weymouth, Massachusetts, with whom he went on to have 6 children, 4 of whom survived into adulthood. Abigail Amelia Adams, known as Nabby, Charles Adams, Thomas Boylston Adams, and future President John Quincy Adams. Abigail Adams would prove to be her husband's trusted confidant. Well-read and possessed of her own intellectual gifts, she corresponded regularly with Adams, especially when he was away in Europe for long periods of time. Surviving letters show her to be a pragmatic thinker and influential in her husband's career. During the 1760s, Adams began challenging Great Britain's authority in colonial America. He came to view the British imposition of high taxes and tariffs as a tool of oppression, and he no longer believed that the government in England had the colonists' best interest in mind. He was a critic of the Stamp Act of 1765, in which the British levied a tax on legal documents, newspapers, and playing cards in the North American colonies. Adams also spoke out against the Townshend Acts of 1767, which levied tariffs on goods such as paper, glass, and tea that were imported to America. Despite his objection to what he thought was unfair taxation by the British, Adams, a principled man, represented the British soldiers accused of murder in the Boston Massacre of March 1770. Adams wanted to ensure that the soldiers who were charged with firing into an unruly crowd of civilians in Boston and killing 5 people received a fair trial. In 1774, Adams attended the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia as a Massachusetts delegate. The Continental Congress served as a government of the 13 colonies and later the United States from 1774 to 1789. In 1775, as a delegate to the Second Continental Congress, Adams nominated George Washington to serve as the commander of the colonial forces in the American Revolutionary War, which had just begun. As a congressional delegate, Adams would later nominate Thomas Jefferson to draft the Declaration of Independence, which Adams would go on to sign alongside his second cousin Samuel Adams. In 1778, Adams was sent to Paris, France to secure aid for the colonist cause. The following year, he returned to America and worked as the principal framer of the Massachusetts Constitution, the world's oldest surviving written constitution. By the early 1780s, Adams was in Europe again, serving in a diplomatic capacity. In 1783, he, along with John Jay and Benjamin Franklin, helped negotiate the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended hostilities between America and Britain. Franklin had served as the American minister to France in 1776, and while Adams often felt that he worked harder than Franklin, it was the older man's charm that opened diplomatic doors for his blunter, more combative colleague. Adams remained in Europe after the war and served as the United States' first ambassador to Britain from 1785 to 1788. After returning to America, he was a participant in the Constitutional Convention that nominated Washington to serve as the nation's first president. Adams lobbied for the vice presidency and won. In early elections, the president and vice president were elected separately. Although Washington and Adams shared many political views, the vice president's role seemed primarily ceremonial, and Adams spent the next 8 years, from 1789 to 1797, in frustration. Adams once remarked, "My country has in its wisdom contrived for me the most insignificant office that ever the invention of man contrived or his imagination conceived." When Washington retired in 1796, Adams ran for the presidency and won over Thomas Jefferson, who became vice president. Adams took office in March 1797, and his presidency was quickly taken up with foreign affairs. Britain and France were at war, which directly affected American trade. During his tenure, Washington had managed to maintain neutrality, but tensions had escalated by the time Adams became president. In 1797, he sent a delegation to France to negotiate a treaty, but the French refused to meet with the delegates, and the French foreign minister, Charles Maurice de Talleyrand-Périgord, demanded a large bribe. Adams refused to deal with the French on these terms, and the bribery scandal, which became known as the XYZ affair, boosted Adams' popularity immensely. An undeclared naval war broke out between the United States and France in 1798 and lasted until 1800, when a peace treaty was signed. Adams squandered his popularity by signing the Alien and Sedition Acts into law in 1798. Ostensibly written to protect American interests, the act gave the government broad powers to deport enemy aliens and arrest anyone who strongly disagreed with the government. Jefferson and his allies, who called themselves the Democratic Republicans, assailed these laws, declaring them unconstitutional. Many Americans, having shed one oppressive government, feared that a new government might resort to similar tactics. Although the laws were never abused and in fact had built-in expirations, they hurt Adams and helped cost him the election of 1800. After his presidency, Adams had a long and productive retirement. He and his wife lived in Quincy, Massachusetts, and the former president spent the next quarter century writing columns, books, and letters. In 1812, he was encouraged to begin exchanging letters with his old rival Thomas Jefferson, and their voluminous correspondence lasted the rest of their lives. Abigail Adams died in 1818, but John Adams lived long enough to see his son John Quincy Adams become America's 6th president in 1824. By that point, the elder Adams and Jefferson were among the last living signers of the Declaration of Independence. On July 4th, 1826, the Declaration's 50th anniversary, the 90-year-old founding father uttered his last words. Thomas Jefferson still survives. He died later that day. What he did not know was that earlier that morning, Jefferson, too, had passed away. Now, isn't that an amazing story that both Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on the same day, hours apart, on the 50th anniversary of the United States of America? I think that is absolutely amazing. And also, did you know, in November 1800, John Adams became the first president to reside in the White House. Construction of the presidential home, which was designed by Irish-born architect James Hoban, began in 1792. President Theodore Roosevelt officially named it the White House in 1901. Just a little trivia for you there. But that is a nice biography of John Adams. Let me zoom back out. And as you can see, we now have 2 medals in the series. Thomas Jefferson will be next, and I am on a mission to acquire that medal as soon as I can and get you a nice biography of Thomas Jefferson and another medal to add to the collection. I do plan on getting these all. I will get them slowly but surely, but they are beautiful medals. I really like them. I like the cases they come in, and they're really cool. So if you don't collect them, you might want to think about it. And also, I wanted to just do a quick plug for John Adams right here. HBO did a series on him that was fantastic, and it's played by Paul Giamatti. Very cool series that they did. But other than that, that's all I got for you today, everybody. I want to wish you all a wonderful week ahead, and I will see you on the next video. Aloha and mahalo.